When a devotee becomes... It does not matter that you are in the material world. You should always, continuously hear the instructions and messages given by me, and always be absorbed in thought of me. For I am the Supersoul, is existing in the core of everyone's heart. Therefore, give up fruitive activities and worship me. Please repeat. It does not matter that you are in the material world. You should always, continuously, hear the instructions and messages given by me, and always be absorbed in thought of me. For I am the Supersoul, existing in the core of everyone's heart. Therefore, give up fruitive activities and worship me. Purport by His Divine Grace. When a devotee becomes materially very opulent, one should not think that he is enjoying the results of his fruitive activities. A devotee in this material world uses all material opulences for the service of the Lord, because he is planning how to serve the Lord with these opulences, as advised by the Lord himself. Whatever material opulence is within his possession, he engages to expand the glories and service of the Lord. A devotee never performs any fruitive or ritualistic ceremony to enjoy the results of such karma. Rather, a devotee knows that karma kanda is meant for the less intelligent man. Narottam Das Thakur says in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Karma kanda, jnana kanda, kevala vishara bhanda. Both karma kanda and jnana kanda, fruitive activities and speculation about the Supreme Lord, are like pots of poison. One who is attracted to karma kanda and jnana kanda spoils his existence as a human being. Therefore, a devotee is never interested in karma kanda or jnana kanda, but is simply interested in favorable service to the Lord. Anukulyana Krishna nu shilanam, or cultivation of spiritual activities in devotional service. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kata Madhya Jushamana Priyas Tavam Aveshamam Atmani Santamekam Sarveshu Bhuteshari Yagyam Isham Jajasvi Yogena Chakarma Hinvan. Om Jnana Timidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Shri Gurave Dadhati Sapadanti Bande Mashristapam Tas Rasam Tan Guru Chan Dutam Ita Bhutale Kripa Sindho Chaitanya Vivasa Hantayam Adralabala Harirasya Vayo Yadrama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramodaha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayostayo Yat Paniyasu Yavasa Kandana Kandamulahai Matsamo Nasti Papatma Naparadi Nakasyana Parihare Pilajjame Kimbruve Purushottama Yuvatinam Tatayuni Yunam Cha Yavatayata Mano Bidabite Dadvam Mano Me Ramatam Twayi Bhumau Skalita Padanam Bhumireva Valambanam Twayi Prabhe Dasyam Maya. Hare Krishna. So here we are in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. so many things have been explained, details of how the Supreme Lord creates this material world. Different stories of different devotees going through different trials and tribulations in order to display their devotion to the Lord. And here, the Supreme Lord Nrsingadev, he's responding to Prahlad Maharaj, his pure devotee. We know that Prahlad was only 5 years old. What could he know? 5 years old, couldn't know very much. Couldn't have been so educated. Even they tried to educate him in, the politics and economics and diplomacy of material, consciousness. But it didn't work very well because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. And due to his unflinching devotion, Nrsingadev himself, the Supreme Lord himself, is offering him benedictions and glorification. The devotees of the Lord are to be glorified because they have come to the point being that everything belongs to Krishna. This is the secret for living in this world, even in the midst of opulence. Prahlad Maharaj was born the son of Hiranyakashipu, who was extremely opulent. We sometimes kind of criticize him because he was a demon and against Vishnu, which is right to do. But we should also understand that he had accomplished extreme austerities, and as a result had become opulent, rare opulence he achieved in the world. I don't know if you remember the story, but he was able to control the rain and the resources of material nature, water and light and heat and all those things, without the help of the demigods. He was so powerful, he didn't need the demigods. He conducted all those things by his own mystic power that he achieved through extreme austerity. So Prahlad was born into this opulent situation. And yet, even when tempted by all those things, he kept himself absorbed in loving devotional service, in loving thoughts of Krishna. And when tested, the ultimate test, where his own father, so powerful that he could, make the demigods run into the clouds just by by moving his eyebrows. He did not flinch. He was not afraid. He was fearless. Because he knew that everything belonged to Krishna. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying here in this purport, when a devotee becomes materially very opulent, one should not think that he's enjoying the results of his fruitive activities. A devotee in the material world uses all material opulences for the service of the Lord because he is planning how to serve the Lord with those opulences. How can he do that? How can he do that? As long as you're thinking that this belongs to me, aham mimeti, then you can't actually engage that energy or those resources or whatever you have in the service of anyone else. You're forced by that mentality to act in a way to try to get more resources for yourself and to do the needful to others in order to accomplish that. That's described by Krishna very clearly in the 16th chapter of the Gita, where the demoniac mentality is described. So much more I have today, so much more I will gain by my strength, and those who have, stood in my way have been eliminated, and those others who will stand in my way will be eliminated. I am powerful, I am happy, I will engage in sacrifice, and I will enjoy in this world, the hum bogi. This is the material mentality. This is the material consciousness. But devotees, they can also be very opulent. Maharaj Yudhishthira, his opulence was described to be so great that even the demigods in heaven could not imagine it. But what was his mentality? When the battle was fought in order to put him in that position of the most opulent position in the world, he felt very bad. He wasn't, lauding, what had happened. He felt bad because so many men had lost their lives in order to put him into the position. So even when a person's in that opulent position, doesn't mean that we have to think like a demon just because we are opulent. This is our choice. This is our choice. And this is the test of our spiritual education. How educated we actually are spiritually. This is the test. It's not how much we know, how much we can lord it over others, how much we can impress others by our, how many shlokas we can remember or whatever. That's not the test. The test is whether or not we can actually feel compassion and continue to feel compassion for others in whatever position we have achieved in this world. Rupa Goswami, he said that if you want to live in this world without being affected by the modes of material nature, then you must make it your ambition to serve Krishna. He acknowledges that may not be the ambition in the beginning. When a conditioned soul is surrounded by the material energy, especially if he's achieved some kind of opulent position, the nature is to get carried away, because we're very, very tiny, and the material nature is very, very great. Therefore, Krishna, he shows through the activities of so many of his loving devotees, how we're supposed to think, what our mentality is supposed to be, so that we can actually adjust ourselves. And this is the idea. This is the proper use of our free will, of our own intelligence. Here it's described about how when one becomes opulent, well, one of the opulences, one of the resources that we have at our disposal is our own intelligence, our own mind and intelligence. We can use those in the service of the Lord. I was just visiting yesterday and last night, and it was so amazing because his heart is so good, and he's chanting Krishna, Krishna, but there's certain things that happened as a result of that stroke that he can't. Like he can say the words, but he can't sing the tune. Amazing, because he was, one of the greatest kirtaniyas in the history of our movement. How many times has he chanted a tune? But because he's got this, it's a machine. We're living in a machine, and he's got certain brain cells that are affected by this stroke. So, the tune can't come out. The words come out, but the tune can't come out. So, and we were talking about it, and he was saying how it's amazing that he's not the mind. He's not the machine. He's not the. We're not even our gross material abilities. We're something beyond that. We're eternal spiritual souls, and all the energy that we've been given in order to live in this world, in order to enjoy in this world, in order to have whatever in this world, is all meant, for us to learn this art of using our intelligence and our senses and our resources and everything in the service of the Lord. And in order to do that, we have to be convinced that it belongs to Him. So how is Krishna going to convince us that it belongs to Him? Every time you get it, especially big time, generally, He takes it away. And this happens to a conditioned soul again and again, life after life after life, and he attains all these positions, and then he gets it taken away. Attains all these positions, gets it taken away. And he struggles and suffers until he comes to the point, by the association of the devotees, by the association of Krishna, because he's so kind, he comes, from time to time to remind us. He stays with us in our hearts. Here he says, Hear the instructions and messages given by me and always absorbed in thought of me, for I am the Supersoul existing in the core of everyone's heart. Such a good friend Krishna is. Suridam Sarvadehi. He's the true friend of all living beings. There's different kinds of friends. But Surit is a very special kind of friend. Surit means the friend who is always on your side, no matter what. No fair weather, friendship in the Surit. So Krishna is the supreme Surit. He's the supreme friend. And we have to accept this. Until we accept it, there will be a constant friction within us. We're thinking that when we get something nice or when we're comfortable, then Krishna is thinking nice of us. And when we are in difficulty or pain or suffering or something's happened to us, some reversal in life, then we're thinking, Krishna, how could he do this to me? But the fact is that he's always there and he's always arranging things. And especially to his pure devotees, especially to his devotees who can take it. Not just dish it out, but can take it. Especially to those devotees, he finds ways to prove the glories of devotional service and the glories of his devotees. And what better way to prove than Prahlad Maharaj? 5 years old, father, a huge, hulking, demon that could fight with, practically anybody and defeat them. He even made Yamaraj back down. He made Yamaraj back down in a fight. He got all these benedictions from Brahma. He was so powerful from his austerities. And yet, Prahlad's devotion was so powerful that it invoked the presence of the Lord. And the Lord dealt with him as if he was a moth, flying into a flame. So this is our position. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes it so nicely in his songs that, my home, my wife, my children, my assets, whatever I have, it is yours. It is yours. And I am just a caretaker. I'm just here. I'm your servant. I'm caretaker. When we have that mentality, when we actually have that mentality, not lip service, not that we know the right words, but then as soon as someone, impinges upon our whatever property or whatever, then we immediately respond with, anger or jealousy or whatever. Not lip service, but actually, therefore it says here, in the core of one's heart, the soul is in the core of the heart. The super soul is in the core of the heart. And we have to go there. This is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means you plumb the depths of your heart. Just like we may be sitting on a gold mine, but you can't use the gold mine unless you get in there and dig it. Just because you own a piece of property that has gold on it, that doesn't mean you get any of the benefits. Even you're sitting on a gold mine, you have to dig it, and it's not easy. And separate it, and process it, and do all the things you have to do in order to make it, tradable, to make it serviceable. This is the art of spiritual life. It's the art of devotional service, and it is demonstrated by how consistently we want to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. I was listening to a lecture. Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture in Los Angeles. I think it was 1973, December. And he was noting, at that time, the temple one room was filled with devotees every morning. And after Prabhupada would give the class, spontaneously they would all rise up and just, their voices were like thunderous. Jai Prabhupada! And they were so enthusiastic to hear Srila Prabhupada speak. He was so powerful. Yeah. And after, a series of those lectures, Prabhupada said, how is it that you're coming to hear me speak every morning? And how is it you're feeling so enthusiastic to hear me speak every morning? I'm saying the same thing every day. You're hearing the same thing repeated every single day. The basics, here we are in 7th canto, and right back to the basics, isn't it? So much detail about the creation and philosophy and, fruitive rituals and how to do everything perfectly, but it gets right down to the basic, to hear and chant the glories of the Lord from the core of the heart is what pleases Krishna, and how we can become free from this material world. So Prabhupada was saying, how is it you're coming every day and so enthusiastic? All I'm saying is, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you are his eternal servant. So how is it? The same thing every day, every day? Why doesn't it become hackneyed? Why doesn't it become old? And it does for some. He said it's because you have ruchi. Because you have a taste. He said otherwise you could not come day after day after day. So this is what we need. We need this ruchi, we need this taste. And that ruchi is acquired, it is there in the heart, it is there already. It is acquired by uncovering it from all the different things that cover it. And therefore it's a process. Ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha cha bhajana kriya anartha niviti syat.
Hare Krishna. So we were hearing a wonderful lecture by His Holiness Keshav Bharti Das Goswami Maharaj. Now I will share with you some of the brief introduction as well as some points from Maharaj's life, how he dedicated himself and got into contact with Srila Prabhupada, and how he is currently serving now in various capacities. So from the lecture itself, we can see that Maharaj has a very, you can say, very focused and very genuine mood to practice Krishna consciousness deeply. And that is his unique point. So I will just share with you the presentation. Yeah, you all can see the presentation. So His Holiness Keshav Bharti Das Goswami Maharaj came into Krishna consciousness around 1972, early 1970s. The exact date is 1972 when he came into Krishna consciousness, and in US. And year after that, in 1973, Maharaj got initiation from Srila Prabhupada, and his name became Keshav Bharti Das. So then later on, when he took sannyas in 1979, then his Das Goswami was given as a title to them. So Keshav Bharti Das Goswami Maharaj he became. And we can see Maharaj has a very high level of sincerity and depth in the practice of Krishna consciousness. So he is very, very clear about the philosophical aspects about the devotional service and how is the process of practicing Krishna consciousness. You can see when he is naturally very intelligent and spiritually inclined. And when he came across Srila Prabhupada's teachings, then he was completely attracted to the teachings, how wonderfully Srila Prabhupada is presenting all the points in a scientific and understandable way. And by the depth and foundational knowledge of that Krishna consciousness movement, he surrendered to ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada. Then as his journey continued, so Maharaj studied Srila Prabhupada books very nicely and participated in the preaching movement. So he travels to various parts like Latin America, US and India, and especially sharing the deep knowledge and philosophical aspects for guiding the devotees. And as you can see from the mood of Maharaj, he was talking about ruchi. We have to uncover that from our inside heart. So that is what Maharaj feels. His mood is that he wants to practice Krishna consciousness genuinely, deeply. He's not after name, fame, or a show, but he genuinely wants that people should sincerely follow Krishna consciousness. So there is an interesting point which was mentioned in the presentation, that Maharaj on the behalf of Srila Prabhupada actually gave sannyas mantra to Srila Bhakti Swami Maharaj, as well as to Srila Bhakti Swami Guru Maharaj. He did the fire sacrifice there. So this was a special connection with other devotees. And as you read, he is specially inclined to discuss the pastimes of Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna Leela. And during his kirtan, he does it very genuinely, deeply, not for as an entertainment, but to please Srila Prabhupada and for pleasure of the devotees. And in that way, Maharaj has accepted. Maharaj is an initiating spiritual master and very honest. All the Vaishnava qualities, simplicity, honest, surrendered, and guiding the devotees, preaching nicely. So currently, Maharaj is living in Govardhan, and twice a year he travels across Europe and USAs to preach. Maharaj has also an important service from the beginning only, since Maharaj was very intellectual and deeply studying. So he was also editing Srila Prabhupada's books and Shastric references. So Gopi Paranadhan Prabhuji, he is Sanskrit editor and one of the leading Sanskrit editor in ISKCON. So Maharaj used to translate that in English, noting down basic minute details and all. So Maharaj is the also of Shivaram Maharaj, Shivaram Swami Maharaj. He is also the author of many books. So Maharaj also edits that. Maharaj has this extra seva. Also, various of the Vaishnav literatures like Brihad Bhagavatamrit, Maharaj has translated that into English. These are some of the aspects of Maharaj's contributions to our movement. And as Maharaj discusses the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita, his focus is how we cultivate this Krishna consciousness in the mood of service, humility, and spiritual integrity. And this genuine mood he carries to all the disciples as well as to whom he preaches. So there is a nice pastime where Maharaj had interacted with Srila Prabhupada, that one day in 1973, Karandar Prabhuji was asking him to come to a morning walk. Srila Prabhupada was going out, and Maharaj was too nervous to say something. So this is in 1973, just the year Maharaj got initiated like that. So there was not so much interaction between Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So here Maharaj was going with Srila Prabhupada, and he took some courage to ask a question. But he was so nervous that he asked the question in such a low voice, kind of whispering. Nobody could hear. Srila Prabhupada just heard Srila Prabhupada, he told. And he asked the question, but Srila Prabhupada could not hear. So Srila Prabhupada stopped, looked at him, and asked others, what did he say? So others told him, Srila Prabhupada is the pure devotee. His question was, is the pure devotee more merciful than Krishna? Then he again said that question. Then also Srila Prabhupada could not hear it. Then the third time when he said, then actually Srila Prabhupada got that question. And then when this question was understood by Srila Prabhupada, so Srila Prabhupada looked at him very straightforward, and then he started smiling. And then he answered, "Oh, yes." And just by this answer, Maharaj was very happy to receive this answer. And during the lecture, Srila Prabhupada was discussing about Arjun, how Arjun was ready to forgive all these uh, fighters, Kauravas, who had insulted and tortured and made so many plans against them. So how merciful is the devotee? But Krishna didn't wanted to forget them or forgive them. So in that way, Maharaj was very happy that his question was very pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. So these are some of the basic introduction of Maharaj. So thank you very much. We pray to the lotus feet of all these great devotees that they have contributed and served Srila Prabhupada in a wonderful way. We may also incur that spirit and contribute in Srila Prabhupada's movement. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai His Holiness Keshav Bharti Das Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.